I think the biggest story in sports again today, and I feel like it's every day on this show, because the last couple of weeks there's been so much talk about the Pac-12 and this TV situation. And again, I will state right off the top, as I have said for months and months, I don't believe for a second that any of the 10 teams in this conference are actively interested in leaving. Like, can't wait to get out of here, man. This place is falling apart. I believe that all 10 of the remaining teams, and that means outside of USC and UCLA, all 10 of these remaining teams in the Pac-12, schools, if they had it their way in a perfect case, would stay together in the Pac-10 as a unit, because I think they know that they are better together. I think they know that they make more money together away from athletics. I think if they had their druthers, they would stay together. But based on what we are hearing now, and it's a little surprising where this is coming from, the Pac-12 has a TV deal that supposedly, and I say supposedly because how many times are we going to fall for this? Supposedly the Pac-12 TV deal is being presented today. This tweet from Brett McMurphy at the Action Network. Colorado Chancellor Phil DiStefano tells the Denver Post, the Pac-12's new media partnership is expected to be presented to league chancellors and presidents Thursday by Commissioner George Kliavkoff. That would be today. DiStefano saying, quote, I'm eagerly awaiting to hear what the commissioner has to say, but at this point, the 10 schools are staying together and awaiting a message from the commissioner. Colorado's goal is to stay within the Pac-12, have a media deal coming up shortly. That is our goal, and I believe the presidents and chancellors of the Pac-12 are together on that. Now, obviously, what's really interesting about that is that it's Phil DiStefano saying that, who, of course, Colorado has been one of the most hotly rumored universities to be pulling the ripcord on the Pac-12 and going to the Big 12, which I think, if I had to put betting odds on it, I would still maintain that Colorado is the most likely university to jump. But it is a little surprising to see and really to read that Chancellor DiStefano is talking about, hey, we're staying together. Hey, the 10 universities are unified. Hey, we're together. Hey, we're just waiting. Now, he hasn't said that nobody's leaving. He hasn't said that Colorado's not leaving. What he said was, we're staying together, waiting for this information from George Kliavkoff. But you'll have to forgive me, Jake, if I'm a bit of a skeptic here, and I am at this point. You'll have to forgive me because I think we've heard this before.
Yeah, we absolutely have heard this before, and I think that the issue is it's Groundhog Day all over again. I mean, we've played how many clips and videos of Kirk Schultz up at Washington State and his meetings and his board literally using the terminology, hey, it's a bit of a Groundhog Day on this topic. We're getting the same thing over and over again, and it never seems to come to an end. And so when I see, Chancellor at Colorado, Phil DiStefano, talking about, what he's talking about here, like, yeah, sure, that's great, Phil, that you're excited about what Kliavkoff is coming to present. I would expect you to feel positively about the fact that it's a media rights deal is going to be presented to you. But the difference is that I'm not so sure that it's an exciting media rights deal. I mean, again, we need to know, A, what's the balance of power between linear and streaming? B, how many years is it? And C, what is each school going to get, obviously? And I think that's the trouble with it is like, what else would a chancellor in the Pac-12 right now say? What else would you want to put out there? Because again, I think this question of messaging and how the Pac-12's handled the media is really a big one. Because I think there's a lot of people who feel like, hey, like this messaging is coming out one day before your media day. So is this a smokescreen? Is this them trying to kind of put this topic to bed so when tomorrow gets here, they can just say, oh, yeah, just like we've been saying, we've got a TV deal on deck and it's going to come out mid next week and then it doesn't come out till like October. I mean, is that what this is? I don't know. But I think
what the skeptics are going to say is this is the Pac-12 putting out a message to deflect and give them something positive to focus on for Football Media Day tomorrow. And I think that makes a little sense. But if you're Phil DiStefano in Colorado, what's the win in putting out misinformation? I don't know what that could be.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is no TV deal. And I mean, we have no reason to think that Phil DiStefano is lying. Why would he do that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think at some point in this world, and I know this is crazy talk, but at some point in this world, don't we have to start taking people at face value?
Yeah.
And I mean, he straight up says, you know, Brett McMurphy, the Action Network, straight up says Phil DiStefano told the Denver Post that the Pac-12's new media partnership is expected to be presented to league chancellors and presidents today. They have a deal. That's what this says.
Yeah.
And the question is, to me, and I know we've said this repeatedly on this show, it's not a question of will the Pac-12 get a TV deal.
Yeah.
They're getting a TV deal. The biggest question is, who's going to sign the grant of rights based on how much that TV deal is worth? Yeah. I think that's the only question. It's the beginning. It's the end. How many of the 10 remaining schools are going to sign the grants of rights? And I just cannot believe that you're going to use the language that Phil DiStefano used if you don't have at least some idea of what the value of this deal is, and that you don't have some inclination that you're likely going to sign the grant of rights and stay in the conference. Because again, and you tell me, as I'm sure you will, this sounds like a guy who wants to be in the conference. This sounds like a guy, to me anyways, CU's goal is to stay within the Pac-12 and have a media deal coming up shortly. That sounds like a guy who wants to stay in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like someone who wants to stay in the conference. I just think that we can't, I don't know, at least for me, I'm not going to give these guys the benefit of the doubt of, hey, why would they lie? I don't think he's lying. I just think that what else are you going to say? What else is he going to say? He's not going to say the conference is burning to the ground and
no
TV deal is not coming. And he's not going to say all this negative stuff. And that's just the reality of it. So for me, like, I just look at it and I say, yeah, I'm sure he wants to stay in the Pac-12 because I've always agreed the schools want to stay together. Like, in a perfect world, they want to stay together because overall it is a good conference. Like, outside of, you know, the most important stuff, which is your P&L sheet, outside of that, it's a really good conference, right? When you look at, you know, athletics and academics and just everything going on, it's a good conference. The problem is it's not run well. So again, these schools would like to maintain their relationships. They want to stay together, but that's different than, hey, they're never going to leave. No one's saying that. What we're saying is, hey, they would like to stay together, but if this media deal is 19.7 or 20, dude, people are going to leave. That's the reality of the situation.
And I will tell you this as well, and it's never changed. If it's $25 million or less, I think you're losing a minimum of 2 teams. Arizona and Colorado, I believe, will not stay for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it's $25 million or more, I think you're going to keep all 10 teams together because it makes no sense to change your relationships and go through the expense of and the politics of and the sensationalism of moving to the Big 12 for roughly $5 million.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make a lot of sense. If it's 30 million, if it's 35 million, there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. But the other question I have is, if it was going to be 30 to $35 million, A, that deal would have been done already, right? B, we talk to people in the TV industry all the time. And go back on the channel, listen to what we've said about the Pac-12 media deal. We've done it on almost a daily basis. The reason we have been so far ahead of the news curve is because the people we talk to are dialed. And I will tell you, we have talked to half a dozen people. Not one person, including our sources at ESPN, not one person is like, oh, yeah, they have a deal. Everybody has said, I have no idea what this deal is they're working on. I have no idea what they're announcing or what they're presenting to their presidents. That's the hard part about this, is here we are well on in time from this tweet right here that was yesterday at 6:30 p.m. We're almost 24 hours past this. Have you heard any rumors? Have you heard any sourcing? Have you heard anyone say, oh, yeah, hey, that deal that's being presented is? You haven't. And that's troubling because whether you're a Pac-12 fan or not, you must agree the Pac-12 has more leaks than a crack pipe, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is not hard to get information in this conference. And yet, not one person, not one president, athletic director, football player has said word one about this. Yet you have the one of the best tight ends in the country at San Diego State saying, oh, yeah, we were told 18 months ago we're going to, or 12 months ago we're going to the Pac-12. Straight up said that today. Like, it's amazing to me that here we are and we're buying into this again.
Yeah.
And frankly, second day in a row on this show, I'm going to say it, it's frustrating, man. I'm over this whole thing where we're sitting here wondering well, hey, because as I told you, the sources we talk to on a regular basis don't have any idea what this is about. By the way, all of our management sources in the Pac-12 who have routinely called us don't have a word to say about it, which is a little surprising.
Yeah.
And it gives me pause, and it makes me wonder, well, is there really a deal? Because I believe we were the first ones who told you about NBC Universal. I believe we were the first ones who told you that CW was out.
Facts.
I believe we were the first ones who told you on this show that Ion TV and Script Sports were out. I believe we were the first ones who told you that Fox Sports is out on Tier 1 and likely out altogether on the Pac-12. We told you that last September. I know we were the first ones who told you, hey, ESPN and Amazon, ESPN's not going to compete with Amazon.
Yep.
They don't view them as competition. I'm telling you, not one person who's told us and who we've talked to in this industry knows the details or believes that there's a TV deal. And that's hard for me to swallow, man. Because, again, as somebody who's watched this conference since its inception, and as somebody who, frankly, believes in the quality of the Pac-12, this is frustrating now. Because it's no longer December or right after the holidays or in a couple of weeks or imminent. It's no longer any of that. It's July 20th. And Football Media Days tomorrow. And you're dangling this carrot in front of everybody saying, hey, we have a media deal. It's going to be presented. Yet it doesn't sound like it was presented. And I hope that's not the case. I hope this is not just a deflection tactic to try and move the narrative at Football Media Day tomorrow.
Yeah.
I hope that's not what this is. Because if that's what this is, it is an absolute tragedy for a conference and for membership that deserves better. Because the Pac-12, and again, I know a lot of people hate the Pac-12, and I don't know why, but I know a lot of people hate the Pac-12. I'll die on the hill that the Pac-12 was a better football conference than the Big 12 last year. This conference deserves better. It's a quality football conference. Dog shit basketball conference. Quality football conference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Strong women's sports conference. Like, this conference deserves better.
Yeah, and I think that, unfortunately they've chosen bad leadership, and that's what's led them here. And unfortunately, it just is it is what it is. That's the situation they're in. Do they deserve better? Yeah. Are they getting better? No. Nope. And I think, again, I still maintain when it's all said and done, when we actually get a deal and it's done and it's announced and it's public and this topic can finally die and go to bed, I wonder what we'll think about the decision not to merge or do a deal when Fox and ESPN came to you, because I still think that's the benchmark moment, man. That's the benchmark moment when the snowball started rolling down the hill. Because if you had done that, you'd had a deal and you wouldn't be here, and the Big 12 would be in your position.
Yeah, I agree with what Brett Yormark said. The other week at Big 12 Media Day, a week ago at Big 12 Football Media Days, when Brett Yormark talked about the fact this is an incredibly difficult market. This is a really difficult market. And, talking about the fact that the deal that the Big 12 got last year is probably not around now.
The media market today isn't what it was when we did our deal in the fall. And I am just so thrilled that we got our deal done early, because I'm not sure if I didn't do that deal then, that deal exists today. There's an opportunity cost to chasing a deal. If I was if I had been in the market all year chasing a deal, all the things that we talked about earlier and I addressed yesterday wouldn't have happened, because I would have had a singular focus on one thing. The fact that we were able to get that thing done early and in 90 days gave us the latitude and the ability to chase all the other things we're doing now. So we really leveraged that moment to the extent that we could, and it's built incredible momentum for us.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
spot on.
And I think that's the biggest issue that you're battling inside of the Pac-12, is that you don't have that kind of momentum now. And you've spent the last 12 months backsliding, while really the SEC and the Big 12 have really pushed forward, right? The SEC's relationship with ESPN, I think, is hugely important. I think you look at the initiatives that – now, I also understand that the SEC, got that huge win with the Omni Hotel in Dallas. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Right.
But you look at the Big 12 and you look at the initiatives inside the Big 12, and, I mean, it's awfully difficult to argue that there hasn't been substantial damage done to the Pac-12 in the last 12 months. Yeah. Like, it is undeniable.
Well, and I think, again, and maybe I'm off on this, but I think as time goes on, dude, as time goes on, the damage will continue, because I still maintain the unseen things, right? The lack of recruiting, the lack of partnerships coming into the conference, right? Both academic and athletic, right? Like, just the lack of opportunity that's occurring because you don't have your path forward is hurting you. Like, you can't measure, it's difficult to measure missed opportunity. Hey, where would the conference be if they'd have said yes to the merger with the Big 12, or if they'd have gone out to market early and done a deal with Fox and ESPN the same way that the Big 12 did? Well, that's really hard to measure. But what I do know is that you lost that opportunity, and you have just about under a month to get this thing done before kickoff. Like, think about that, man. I think it's August 16th is week 1. Like, you don't have a lot of time here, man. So to me, it's like, yeah, I agree with you what you said yesterday on the show, which is, hey, if they get this done by kickoff, it's fine, and I agree with that. But I'm not confident necessarily that happens, because think about it. All that has to happen to start worrying about that is 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks, 10 business days. That's not a lot of time before the pressure kind of starts really building on this thing. So that's why I say I just think that the damage will continue the longer this goes on.
Yeah, and I wonder, when you look at some of the headlines, you look at the graphic on the screen now. I mean, Amazon Prime Sports and the Pac-12 have had conversations in recent times. I think we told you yesterday, we broke the news that the Pac-12 had a proposed TV deal, and the new board of directors said, no, let's, and there are some varying descriptions of what happened, but the consensus essentially is that's not robust enough. Let's go back and, put A and B together and get C, which is what it sounds like they did. Mm-hmm. And I think when you look at what this new board of directors represents, the thing that scares me is that you have Robert Robbins from Arizona on this board of directors. And Arizona has been one of the most vocal critics of the last 12 months. They have talked openly about, affinities. I mean, listen, Bobby Robbins himself has talked openly about affinities for the Big 12 as a basketball powerhouse. Jed Fish last week on a podcast talked about how he doesn't know where Arizona will be, but the brand is powerful, and, hey, we're going to be somewhere. Like, you put this guy on the board of directors in a group of 3. By the way, the scandal that has now devastated Stanford, who heard about this? The president of Stanford, who is on the Pac-12 board of directors, is resigning after his research and ethics were called into question. So he is now resigning. So now you have an open seat on the Pac-12 board of directors. Like, you have all of this controversy and all of this scandal in one of the most important times in the history of the Pac-12, and really go back to the Pac-8, go back to the very beginnings of this conference. This conference has never had this much instability. And it feels like every week there's just more problems and instability heaped on top of all this. And so now you have a situation where, of all people, Kirk Schultz, the president at Washington State, is the one that is the chair of the Pac-12 Board of Directors. And now who's number 2? Well, it's Robert Robbins, the president at Arizona. And you look at the systematic issues plaguing Washington State, their financial, I don't know, deficit is the right word in sports. And now you have the mismanagement of Washington State, a president in Kirk Schultz, who is not well regarded by all reports by his constituents, who had a staff revolt 6 weeks ago.
That's an issue.
Up at Washington State. That guy's in charge, and the most vocal proponent for going to the Big 12 is his number 2. This just doesn't feel great.
No.
That's the bottom line here. So I say all of that, and I come back to all of this, and I say now we hear that the Pac-12 has a TV deal done. But we also hear from multiple sources the Pac-12 will not announce that TV deal tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think it's a classic cat and mouse game. It's like, oh, yeah, we got a TV deal, but, we can't move media day. So, hey, John up north, when you have that list that you put out today of all the guests you're going to have on your show, yeah, we don't need you to ask them about the TV deal. It's fine. Don't worry about it, dude. Hey, dude who covers Arizona, right? No need to ask us about the TV deal because it's coming. Trust us, right? It's coming and it's Louis, right? Like, we're good. We're good here. Nothing to see, right? It's going to come out next week, and we're really sorry we can't talk about it. It just reeks of, hey, we know media days tomorrow. We know we should have had a deal done by now. Frankly, we know that we turned down a deal. The board turned down a deal. It never got to our president. So, you had the opportunity to do a deal. You turned that deal down. Now you're saying you have a deal because media days tomorrow. So I can't really trust that you actually have one. Not saying dude's lying, right? Chancellor DiStefano, not saying he's lying, but it just reeks of propaganda play. And I think that's what they're not going to get a free pass on.
And again, I see a lot of people jumping on the show right now, so I want to make sure that you're caught up on what we're talking about. We're talking about this tweet from Brett McMurphy, Action Network, and arguably, I think we all know who Brett McMurphy is, one of the best college football reporters in the country, tweeting that Chancellor DiStefano at Colorado told the Denver Post, yeah, there's a deal, and it's going to be presented to Pac-12 presidents today. Don't know what it is. But, CU's goal is to stay with the Pac-12 and have the media deal coming up shortly. That's our goal. I believe the presidents and chancellors of the Pac-12 are together on that.
And I don't think it's a stretch to conclude that he's saying they have a media rights deal ready to go here. It just needs to be presented. I mean, that's what that says, literally.
I believe it does.
So if you have a media rights deal on deck, and I know this might sound crazy, right? And maybe this is just too fast for the Pac-12. But if I was the Pac-12 and I'd been working on this thing for a year, and George said, hey, we've got a completed media rights deal ready to present. Dude, can we not get a Zoom call set up for 3 o'clock today to review this thing so tomorrow we can talk about it? That's the thing that surprises me a little bit. Rather than going to Brett McMurphy or rather than going to the Denver Post, how about you guys meet on it and get aggressive with it? That's what surprises me. And I know logistics and everyone's got plans and it's scheduling and it's Google Calendar and everything. But dude, I would be much more aggressive with getting to the conversation because again, as I was just pointing out, if 2 weeks go by, literally from right now, from 3:28 Mountain Time, right, July 20th, 2 weeks forward, and we don't have a deal, dude, that pressure dial is going to turn up because kickoff is August 16th, and you cannot get to kickoff and not have a deal.
Yeah, it's
That's not gonna work.
It's going to be interesting, and I see a lot of people asking about Mark Tessier-Levine, the president at Stanford. He will be on the board, and I believe that John Wilner is reporting he will be on the board through August, which is when he will resign at Stanford. So it's just horrendous timing for this. It is really bad timing, and I do hope in some form or fashion that this tweet from Brett McMurphy is wrong. Because, man, if they don't announce a TV deal in the next couple of days,
it's brutal.
It's going to get really bad.
Yeah.
And I really wish, and I say it again, not to be redundant, and I'm sorry for all of you who watch the show on a regular basis. Dude, they should stop talking until they're announcing a deal.
Right?
Just stop. There's no reason for Phil DiStefano to be talking to the Denver Post. Like, the silence had been so powerful for this league. The media, the Heather Diniches and the great radio wizard in the Northwest, like all the people that had been spouting off for the last 6 months about how the deal was coming this week and it's never happened. It's so damaging. It is so damaging. And I think really and I don't know where you guys, so let's do comments. Let's get into your comments. But it to me, it's really damaging.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's not good. B gives us $5 to say something must have changed because Colorado canceled a Board of Regents meeting for the 25th. Something must have changed. And I don't know. Everybody gets all up in arms over Board of Regents meetings.
Yeah.
They happen all the time. They are canceled all the time. I wouldn't read too much into that. I really would not read too much into that. Cleveland Rocks gives us $5 to say left Ohio at 2 a.m. to avoid traffic on Route 70. By 8 in the morning, I was feeling tired. Took my first buckshot ever.
Boom.
Incredible, great product.
Boom.
Let's go.
That's right, T.
Boom.
Buckshot.
Let's go.
Every day we tell you the energy provider of the Monty Show is indeed our good friends at Bucked Up Energy. Bucked Up Energy, they give us buckshot, and I'm telling you, it is the best mental product on the market. Second to none. And yes, it's got 200 milligrams of caffeine in it, but it's high-powered energy that delivers mental clarity. It allows you, if you're driving, to feel a little sharper. You get that post-lunch carb crash, right? You and the boys went out for a burger and fries for lunch. Now it's like 2 o'clock and you're like, whoo.
It's not nap time, bro. Wake up.
Let's go, right? Hit a buckshot and you're going to get a mental lift out of it. You know the best time for us to use buckshot? Well, we're going to use it right now. You ever try a buckshot on the golf course? We did yesterday, and who had the best golf day they've ever had? Jakey Two Holes. Captain back to front.
Let's go.
Had the best.
I am not captain back to front.
Jakey Two Holes had the best golf day he's ever had. Hit the driver as well as he did.
Bomb.
And frankly, if I'm going to brag, yeah, we won the golf tournament up at Canyons yesterday.
Just us, the old YouTube hacks.
Yeah, the two hacks on YouTube with the coach of the Utah Grizzlies, Ryan Kanasowicz. Cameron from Bam Bam's Barbecue.
Yeah.
We played in a foursome, and we won the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
Thank you to our friends at Bucked Up. You guys don't take my word for it. There's a free sample pack in the description below. They also have Buck Bars. I've told you all about the Bucked Up Energy Buck Bars. You guys know for years and years on this show I have told you how much I hate protein bars. That's all over with. The Buck Bar is a game changer because it's great ingredients, the perfect reward for your post-workout, your pre-workout. The only thing I had yesterday, I got up at 5 a.m. yesterday. I did not eat until 12:30 with the exception of a Buck Bar, and I felt great all day. Hook it up in the description below. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Cleveland Rocks also says, added bonus for the buckshot is that my beautiful wife of 32 years.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Didn't question my driving ability as I was focused and alert to Kansas.
Boom. Boom.
Let's go. Love
Boom.
it, man. Glad you got there safely. Ron Loney says lies. Okay. Outside the echo chamber, there's no federal research funds for business or accounting. Okay.
Okay. That seems a little random, but okay.
Nick Flynn. Remember, the most quiet and the most loud members always leave. Texas and USC were the loudest. Oklahoma and UCLA were the most quiet about it. I think Carol Fulton USC was shocking.
Yeah, I mean, the Carol Fulton USC thing was cold-blooded.
Absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
I mean...
And that's why I think and we're going to keep reading comments, but that's why I think the Bobby Robbins situation on the board is very, very risky. Because I what better position to be in if you are, flying under the radar about leaving, Nobody else knows, and then you get elevated to the board. You get all the information first. You get everything.
It's remarkable. It is perilously similar.
Yeah.
To the USC situation. Starry, good afternoon to you. Sounds like everything in the PAC is just fake. I hope it's not, man. I would love nothing more than for Commissioner Klyavkov to sit up there tomorrow at 2 a.m, I think you said his speech is.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yep.
I actually think George Klyavkov is addressing the media at 8 a.m.
Yeah, 8 Pacific.
8 Pacific, 11 Eastern. I would love nothing more than for George Klyavkov to sit up there and announce a new TV deal that's $35 million a year for 5 years.
Back to the envelope calculations.
Let's talk football. Like, that would be amazing.
But I think if that were the case, Chancellor DiStefano wouldn't have talked yesterday.
I think that's true. And I think if he had $30 to $35 million, this deal would have been done a long time ago.
Yep.
Because that's not new money.
And I still maintain that's your best point, right? I think on Monday, maybe Tuesday, you said if they were going to get the deal they wanted, the deal would have been done already.
Yeah.
Like if they had the $35 million, it would have been done already.
Because what the Pac-12's been doing very, very simply is they've been out piecemealing a deal together.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we can play the what if. If there is in fact a deal, and we talked to many people at ESPN, none of them know that there's a deal.
Somehow. So
ESPN's either not involved in it, or they have the tightest of lids ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. But my guess is if they have a $35 million deal, ESPN came up and offered more money, which would be shocking to me. They got a deal on Friday night with Amazon, and they must have another linear TV partner, which would be, again, ESPN's not known to share linear TV rights. They're not. They do not like doing it. They like their ESPN and ABC partnerships, and that's what they like, man. That's why when you look at the Big 12, look how little football's on Fox and how little Big 12 basketball's on ESPN.
Yep.
Because they like the brand. They like people to say, oh, it's Big 12 football, that's ESPN.
Yep.
Oh, it's the SEC, that's ESPN. Oh, it's Monday Night Football, that's ESPN.
Yep.
That's ESPN's modus operandi. That's how they operate. And I think one of the things that people struggle with the Pac-12 is, well, what if it is? And it could be NBC Universal, right? Which I think could be best case scenario. I truly do, because I am one of the people who is in the camp of ESPN and Comcast are making a partnership. And that would include NBC Universal, obviously. And I think if you put the Pac-12 on NBC Universal and Peacock, that's a perfect fit, because then you're going to do a deal with ESPN and Comcast NBC. You're going to have a significant share of Notre Dame football, in my opinion, because that deal is going to get renewed. You're going to have the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the SEC through NBC and ESPN.
Yeah.
And I think that's the deal that makes the most sense. That's not $35 million a year.
Yeah. Yep.
That's not $30 million a year. If that is the deal, my guess is that's somewhere around $20 million a year.
Because it's garbage.
And if that's the case, hold on for dear life.
Yep.
Because the water's about to get rapid.
Pack everything up. We're
which is a little scary. Matt Ritson gives us $4.99 to say the Pac-12 conference should play California lottery last night. Over $1 billion. Didn't have a winner ticket. Someone in L.A. won last night. Yeah.
Yeah.
California, their one single ticket for the $1.09 billion Powerball.
Yeah, dude.
God damn.
It's a lot of bread.
If we'd have won, we wouldn't be doing a show right now. What would you be doing right now if you'd
Golfing.
won? Yeah, I'd be playing golf.
Golf.
Somewhere. I'd be up at Canyons. No doubt about it. Hey, how about our guy David back on the program?
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Welcome
David's
back,
a member. David, good to see you. Appreciate that. You guys make sure you hit the like button. We always try to get to 200 likes on the show. We've already had 3,000 people watch the show today with 114 likes. That's weak sauce. Let's go. Emma in ZZ's World gives us $4.99. I hope I'm saying that right. Emma and ZZ World. The PAC media deal will have a mangina. GBR, go big red. Ah, that's what GBR means. Okay, I like it. I don't know about the mangina thing, but hey, that's all you know.
Yeah, all right.
You know.
Yeah.
You know. Saul Goodman, the Dumpster Conference. It is the Dumpster Fire Conference. Raider Mark says gaslighting. You really think that's what this is? That they're putting these rumors out? Oh, man, I hope that's not true.
It just reeks of it,
man,
though,
I
dude.
hope that's not
and
true.
I'm with you. I hope that's not the play, but it kind of feels like that.
I never thought about that. That could be true. Could absolutely be true. There is no question that could absolutely be true.
Yeah, it feels like the play.
I hope that's not the play. Hey, how about Go Black?
Go Black.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
The newest member of the program. Let's go.
Baby.
Love that. Appreciate you supporting the show. By the way, when you're a member of the show, you can be a member for as little as $1.99 a month. That gets all your comments read. If you would like to join our exclusive Instagram members only group, that's $9.99 a month. That gets you into a great group of folks that talk about all kinds of things from their favorite whiskey to the Pac-12 media deal to the Big 12, BYU, you name it. It's all in there. So hit the join button and make your selection. But go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Black 45. Good to have you on board. Appreciate that. Kurt Peters, the PAC is like dating a narcissist.
You want to explain that?
Well, it kind of is, though. The way I would explain it is it feels like this is all we get to talk about until it's over.
Yeah.
And it makes me crazy. Renee Roca. What's up, Renee? All eyes on the Pac-12 tomorrow, so let's not announce the big news. But that's my point. That's my point. You have one day, and it's bad enough that Pac-12 Football Media Day is one day. It's bad enough you didn't announce it, and we're starting to hear about all the media members who will not be there, including the Monty Show. Didn't have enough time to build a package around it. You gave us like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks notice. Man, like, that's not going to do.
Yeah.
And you're one day in a second-class resort in Las Vegas. That's not great. Everybody's in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but you can't do Los Angeles. Well, because,
The awkwardness.
it's so odd, right? That's a problem. Jay Chapman, how are you? Pac-12 made a deal all right with the coroner's office. Easy.
Damn, bro.
Good Lord.
Oh.
Fire. Cougar Tracks, this deal is just too good to talk about. Yeah, man. Whew. I mean, you guys trust me, it's a really good deal. It's so good I can't bring it up in public.
Congratulations, but that's bullshit.
That'd be an FCC violation.
Right, right.
Can't do that. Right. Let's see. BU at 12 with Patrick. Okay. Patrick Bourne, good to see you. Was the Washington State president lying?
Well, about which portion? Because there's like 15 portions.
Dude, we played a bunch of audio from him. So you guys might remember the other day, Heather Dinich had a tweet where she said a deal is imminent and oh my God, right? Like, so Heather Dinich had all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And everybody was trying to figure out, okay, where'd you find that out? And you started hearing things like, the timing and all of a sudden it just goes off in your head that, well, that's what Kirk Schultz was saying. And we played you pretty much chapter and verse, word for word, Heather Dinich's tweet, but out of Kirk Schultz's mouth, who she had clearly been speaking to.
Yes.
And it's Kirk Schultz repeatedly saying, oh, it's going to happen. Oh, bad optics. Oh, the timing's wrong. Oh, the layoffs. The over and over and over. And so Heather Dinich is, hey, the deal is imminent. Meanwhile, Ross Dellinger came out and was like, yeah, no deal's imminent. We're not going to hear much until August. And it's like, good Lord, man. Like,
and I think the trouble is like, hey, when it's Heather Dinich versus Ross Dellinger,
I would agree.
I'm going with Ross.
And I'm not going to say that Kirk Schultz is lying. I think Kirk Schultz is a shyster. He's a spinner, right? And that's why with this situation at Stanford, when their president steps down, Taylor Randall at Utah really should be the guy to fill that seat. And it appears that that's what's going to happen. That would be a move towards stabilization, in my opinion. Because as we've, I think, exclusively reported on this show, Taylor Randall has been a calming and really the calming influence in the conference.
Right.
Our sources in the conference and at Utah have been telling us that Taylor Randall has routinely facilitated conversations, big group calls. Hey, let's let George and his staff do their job. Hey, they said they were doing this. We told him that. Like, he's quelled infighting. He has been a facilitator. Taylor Randall, the president at Utah. So it's not as though, he's a guy that's going to come in and stir stuff up. I think you would have to move heaven and earth to get Utah to bail a moment before disaster on the Pac-12. Taylor Randall should be on the board, not Robert Robbins. Because with all due respect to Bobby, he's a guy at Arizona that wants to go to the Big 12. He's made that
We're out of here.
painfully obvious.
Yeah.
Right? He has made that painfully obvious. You look at the quotes, I know what the Big 12's number is, Robbins told Dennis Dodd at CBS. I just needed to hear what the Pac-12's number is, then I can make a decision. He also told Dennis Dodd that the Big 12's footprint and the league's powerhouse basketball brand are the basis for some affinities.
I want it.
So is Kirk Schultz lying? I don't think he's lying. I think that's strong. But I think the guy's just a clown.
Schemers trying to control their little world.
I think he's a buffoon. I think he's a guy who isn't good at what he does.
Yeah.
And I think he's no different than Larry Scott. He's no different than the performance we've seen from George Kliavkoff.
Facts.
And what does the Pac-12 have a record for doing? Elevating those guys, letting them fail upward at the conference's expense. So is Kirk Schultz a liar? I don't know. I don't think so. Is he good at his job? Okay, well, that, in my opinion, I know pretty well he's not. I mean, when you have a faculty revolt because of the athletic budget, your handling of the Nick Rolacox situation, remember that fiasco with Nick Rolovich, the former football coach at Washington State? And granted, that was a state edict. They really had no control over that. I get it. But the way you've handled it since that went down, because I'm not putting that situation on Kirk Schultz, but the way he's handled it, the way, they're just not good at what they do. Let's be real. They're not good. Dude, the Pac-12 at a conference level is crappy at what they do. Dude, at a president level, there are too many schools in this conference that are not strong. Kirk Schultz is trying to be an MVP instead of a captain. Yeah. Be a captain. Be a leader. Yeah. Guide do your people. Job. Motivate people. Don't try to be the guy that's out front winning the awards and the best performer, because you're not everybody can be Tom Brady. Yeah, dude. You're very Trent Dilfer, sir, without a champion. Probably too much. Let's see. Tanner Plummer. As much as I hope the Pac fails, I do hope this deal gets done so we can just talk football. You and I both. Trust me, you and I both. Emma says, go Big Red. OG Gary, how are you? All cloak and dagger. You're a Ute fan, Gary. What do you think is going to happen? I think that's a huge question. Christopher Shannon, hey, NBC, can I get $90 million for one game? Hey, CBS, can I get $70 million for one game? Hey, Fox, can I get $70 million for one game? Hey, Apple, can I get one game for $70 million?
No.
How about $460 million? One game, Apple. Come on. Huge market cap. Let's do this. Sell more iPhones. Right. Free iPhones for everybody. That would be crazy. Salty Drunk says, I see you're in the Sunday red, Jake. It's more of a salmon peachy color, to be honest with you, Salty. It's not really, it's more of a peach, not a red. I was thinking about red today, but I was like, yeah, but then I'd have to wear red shoes, and I wasn't really feeling red shoes. But, dude, your driver pretty much carried the ball club yesterday. Yeah, I hit the driver well. Now, I can't chip to save my life. Can't even really, I had some good putts, but overall, I'm not great at putting. But the driver was nice yesterday. I am usually 10 strokes better than Jake on the golf course. Mm-hmm. That's pretty standard. He was one stroke behind me yesterday. One stroke. And clearly had until the last 4 holes. Yeah. Because I hit the shit out of the ball the last 4 holes. Well, I think the last 4 holes, you had it going, I had it going, and Ryan Kanasowicz had it going. Yeah. Yeah, we were balling out. Yeah. I had the iron in the fairway working. And so we get off the course, and we're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. There's no way we're winning this thing. Turn the cards in. We're like, pack everything up. We're out of here. Yeah, we got to work tomorrow. Yeah, come on. Yeah, you missed too many chips. Like,
Yeah, like, come on, dude.
We're driving home, and our guy, Darren Ingram from Canyons Golf up in Park City is like, hey, are you guys still here? We're like, no, it's a torrential rainstorm. We have a 45-minute drive home. We left. And he's like, damn, you guys won. I was like, we won? What?
Yeah, I was like, dude, stop lying to me,
go.
bro. Don't lie to me.
Don't lie to me.
Let's go.
Come on, dude.
I loved it. Let's see. Spangler, how the heck are you? Big Ten is going to target Notre Dame and UNC. That's my prediction. Well, I mean, and I don't think you're wrong about that, but I think when you look at the Big Ten specifically, the Big Ten's going to have to try and find new money. They, as we, again, reported exclusively on the show. So remember that whole vetted and cleared thing? I can't even remember who reported that, but the whole vetted and cleared thing, when that happened, we went and really dug into, well, what the hell does vetted and cleared mean? Our sources told us that meant that the Big Ten went back to its TV partners and said, hey, we'd like to add Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and Cal. Are you willing to pay for that? CBS said yes. NBC said yes. And Fox said, no, thanks, we're good. But why did they say no, thanks, we're good? Because Fox has the big noon kickoff. If you add 4 Pacific time zone teams, they're never going to be on Fox. They're going to be on CBS and NBC. And so CBS and NBC agreed to pick up the ticket on that. And Fox was willing to chip in a small percentage because they were going to get basketball out of it.
Yeah.
So vetted and cleared meant, hey, yeah, they're on par. Will you guys pay for them? Yeah, we will. Okay, great. But the Big Ten, much like, to his credit, Brett Yormark in the Big 12, was not willing to be the one that was taking a jackhammer to the foundation of the Pac-12.
Which is really fascinating to me, too, because I feel like, again, another reason this deal needs to get announced sooner rather than later is so the people who are going to eat the Pac-12, if that's going to happen, need to get to eating, right? Because, again, I can't help but keep driving this point home, like recruiting gets affected, NIL, portal,
Yes.
all the processes, both business acumen and just for players, all that is affected by the lack of stability in a conference.
Yes.
Because, again, that kid, that Texas kid who's good enough to play at Texas, but good enough to play at, Oregon and SC and like all these powerhouse programs. That kid is literally having to say, okay, no, I'm not playing in the Pac-12 because I don't know what the deal is. I'll just stay home.
Yep, I totally agree. Michael Peck says, Jake seems like the type that matches his shirts and shoes. Oh, shit, here we go. I got to tell you, I do that every day. I do that every day. I match my shirt. I match my outfit.
Well, it's not necessarily. So here's the thing. Quick sidebar. It's not necessarily matching the shirt and the shoe, but there has to be synergy on some level.
There has to be synergy, and don't underestimate the value of the sock.
Yes.
Ruining the shoe game.
Yes.
Because you have to have synergy there, right?
Yes.
I own over 200 pairs of shoes, and I can tell you, wearing tan shorts messes with my shoe game.
Yeah, our boy Mike here in the office was like, hey, bro, you guys got shoe game for days.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, dude, we're trying, man. As he rolls up in Jordan 1s. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Don't even get into it. If you're not, don't do it. Derek Roche says, I'm confident I could hold a 200 or less. In golf?
Okay. Bro, that's like a 12 on every hole, bro.
Greg Swaim says pretty close to Oklahoma State orange, Jake. Great fashion statement.
But dude, I didn't cross the line though. See, it's not. I'm not in the Mike Gundy territory, bro. Like I don't think it's quite that orange yet.
No, it's not.
It's a salmon pink.
Truck Stop Gumby says #GoldfishGate.
Hey,
are we really doing this with your clothes? Kurt Peters, Jakey, I love your peaches. Won't you shake your tree?